We have approved minutes from going back several months at our workshop, so we'll jump right into old business. And we will defer to staff here on the Fergus and Cheney Road sidewalk project updates.
Okay, well, for those of you that came out last month, we did have a ribbon cutting for Fergus Road sidewalks. 100% complete. The punch list is done, and that's that project is ours now. It looks great down there.
Yeah,
it really does. Garland had coordinated the road to be paved after the sidewalk was done. They came in that Monday that the punch list was complete, and they paved the road that day. I wish it went further, but it is what it is. We got from the Tiger Market then to Heritage Valley East is paved and sidewalked, and that thing is used every day. I mean, before it was even opened up, people were using it. I just think it's great that we have a safe corridor for kids to get up and down Fergus Road now. That was very dangerous before with the limited shoulder that was there and kids walking on, or not just kids, but everybody walking on that. So now they're off the roadway, and it just feels good to have that one done. And then Cheney Road, they paved up there Saturday as well. The sidewalk, we haven't gone through our walk through yet with them, but we'll probably do that probably next week, since this is a short week. The sidewalks look to be about 95, probably closer to 99% done. The bench at the end of the road down there at Old Nashville Highway has to go in still. They laid some sod down there, so we're close on that one. They paved that Friday and Saturday from the high school all the way to Old Nashville Highway, including some of Old Nashville Highway. So it really looks good. And,
yeah, it does.
And same there with getting folks off the shoulder of the road and onto the sidewalk. It's great that we're finally getting these projects that have been out there for 5, 7, 9 years, finally getting them off the to-do list and put them on the to-done list. But
you want to just give a quick update too on the safe routes to school?
Safe routes, we've got the notice to proceed. We've decided, because of the time of year and the fact that we have until September of next year to get this project done, we're going to wait and advertise after the first of the year in January. We'll advertise it, get the bids in, and expect to start that project April, May timeframe, something like that, to give us the 90 days, 120 days to get it done. That again is Floyd Mayfield from the intersection of Sand Hill to Anaganon, which is about 1,200 feet. It's not much. There should be no environmental involved. It should be a straight shot. So once we jump through all the hoops for the state, that's a federal project. We'll once we get started, that'll be a quick one.
And again, we've said it several times, but that's a 100% grant.
It is.
The city, with the exception of, I think, some engineering, will pay nothing. And when it connects, there's already existing sidewalk from Anaganon running to Laverne Middle,
right.
and then from there up to Laverne Lake. So again, it will connect everything from Roy Waldron all the way to those two schools.
Very good.
All right, Jeff, you want to jump to number 2, the Greenway?
Greenway update. Again, we're talking about some very old money that was awarded the state, or awarded by the state as late as 1999. So we're having to retool the contract with Weiser that we had, because some of the numbers and dates and percentages were out of date. So Weiser Corporation, who's the engineering firm behind this Greenway, is giving us a revised tentative plan of what it's going to cost to get the Greenway from the library to the vicinity of the roundabout. So we're looking at that at the end of this month, and then we'll form we'll give it to the Greenway Committee to look at, get with the Mayor, Aldermen Board, and some key players, even Parks and Rec Advisory Board, to look and see what kind of things we want to put on there in addition to the Greenway. Benches, we're talking, parking lot, trailheads where we want it, what we want. So looking forward to that. Hoping to start moving dirt on that project in April as well, with an anticipated completion date of fall of 2014. So again, it's another one of those projects that we're excited to get going and
Sure. We had number 3. We had a pretty nice little Veterans Day ceremony a week ago Sunday. I don't know the numbers that were there, but I think everyone was there was pretty appreciative of what was put on, and I think we had wind gusts at 50 or 60 mile an hour throughout the whole event. But anything you want to add as far as that?
Again, it was a great turnout for the folks that did bear the weather. It's just a good sense of community that day to see some of these vets. I mean, Korean War veterans and Saudi. I mean, it was just great to look out there and see all those folks out there.
We do have living here in Laverne.
Oh yeah.
I would assume so. I don't have an actual number.
Well, you had several that were just city employees. That
Sure.
were vets. I mean, let alone the ones that were residents that came out.
Including Jeff.
Including Jeff. Was it a Black Hawk or Apache or?
Apaches.
Apache. Pilots. That's pretty impressive.
And they also presented a list of veterans from the Senior Citizen Center as
There you
well.
go.
Oh, really? Yeah, I fall in that group.
All in all, I think it was a pretty great day.
Yeah. Sorry I wasn't able to make it.
Well, you're fighting another battle right now, but maybe next year we get you out there. Anybody else on Veterans Day or anything? Okay. Jump up to new business then, and on December 7th, I believe, 8th, excuse me, is our Parade of Lights, which is our Christmas celebration. We'll start at Veterans Memorial Park and work its way down here. Christmas tree lighting, Santa Claus, some other events. And that even starts at 5?
The parade starts at 6.
6.
We'll do the tree lighting at or as close to 7 o'clock as we can, depending on where the parade's at that time. And then Billy Bauer will be the Grand Marshal this year, and upon completion of the tree lighting, and the choralers are going to sing for us and some other entertainment. We've got a little fireworks display afterwards. So last year's was great. This year's, I'm sure, will be every bit as good.
Very good. And people can still sign up for the next, I believe, until December 2nd, as far as floats and just being in it. So any civic group or any school groups or whatever. Parks and Rec 793-3224.
There's hard copy applications at City Hall in our building, and then you can visit the website at www.lavernetn.gov.
All right. Anything else? All right. We'll move to number 2 on new business. And it is, we're kind of exploring possibilities with Lake Forest and the playground there. And Kathy, you've kind of headed this up throughout the city. So
I'm hoping to work on this with Jeff in close partnership with Parks and Rec. From the public relations point of view, the folks who live in Lake Forest, 3,000 plus houses in that subdivision, were promised a park. They have a park, but the only thing there is a broken down graveyard, unfortunately, and what is it, like a picnic shelter? And that's all they have in that entire 3,000, 4,000 house neighborhood. So one of the things that I had talked with you about, and I've talked with the mayor about it and Jeff, is doing a community build playground back there. A community build playground, one of the reasons you do it is that you get the neighborhood to buy into it. So they're also going to be policing, for lack of a better word, making sure that that playground is taken care of. And because of where it's located, you really do want that buy-in. That park is behind where the police substation is on Holland Ridge Road, back there in that Cedar Park area. It's not completely isolated, but you can't see it easily from the road. You have to, turn in to really see it. So we do want a community buy-in for that. Part of the community buy-in will be fundraising. Jeff has in his budget, he had already budgeted $50,000 for next year for it, and then he's got a couple of years down the road another amount of money, and I think he was looking at, with that money, doing like a trail around it and some other things like that. What we want to do with the Parks and Rec approval is to start the exploratory committee, which means starting to put, it will be a number of committees that we have to put together. It's going to be, the big one for right off the start will be fundraising. We'll want to do a Fund Me account, fundme.com account. We'll have to get the Board of Mayor and Aldermen's approval, but what we want from you guys is for you to recommend that we move forward with this. We're looking at, I met with one playground company today. Well, Jeff and I met with this playground. I have another one knocking at the door. There's a company called Leathers and Associates that actually has a design day, and I think we might have talked about this a little bit before. They have a design day where they come into the schools and talk to the children in the schools, what do you want in your playground? So when you involve the kids and then you'll have a big launch party, it gets the community excited about it. When we do finally have the funding and the design and everything in place, it will be a community build, which means we're going to have probably a couple of hundred volunteers, an army of volunteers, to get in over a 3 to 6 day period to actually get out there with their hammers and nails and put it together, depending on which company you go with. Some will have the prefab material, others will do the design from the ground up. We will have to do, we talked with Felicia and Phyllis and Bruce about it. We'll have to do an RFP. Jeff and I are talking with your approval and with the board's approval of doing an RFP come January, and then seeing what all of these playground companies offer and seeing which direction we want to go. But once we get the approval from the board with your recommendation, fundraising is going to be the next big step, and then it really won't take long, probably 4 to 6 months, to come and do a design day where they come into the schools, if that's the route we go, and get the kids so they will have a picture of the design that they're working toward. It's going to be a long process, probably a year to a year and a half from when we get the approval till we're out there building and having the grand opening. But we don't want it to be too long, but we want it to be long enough so it can be carefully planned. Safety, low maintenance, there are a lot of different issues that will have to be addressed, but we feel like that neighborhood with that many houses really deserves a playground, something for their families to go to.
That you do go ahead and proceed with this. This is long overdue. This is going back to the other administration. Of course, when the economy broke, that's when everything kind of put back to the side, but I think things are starting to pick up now, and I think we really need to do something back there with that park. It's long overdue.
Okay, we have a motion to give a favorable recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, do we have any discussion on it any further before we vote? I guess I want to say a couple things. While we have money budgeted, the real goal is to somehow fundraise most, if potentially not all of it, through various events. And we'll, again, that's what's setting up this committee. So what we are really recommending here is that we go ahead with an exploratory committee to look at all the various options. But I think once things get rolling, you'll have some corporate sponsors, you'll have some individual sponsors. So I want to assure everybody that that's the goal, and it isn't that we're looking to, if we could do this without hitting taxpayers up, it would be great. Walking around over the last few months, talking to people at Lake Forest, everyone that I mentioned it to I did hear one person say, no, I'm against this. So, and there's other things too that we've talked about. I want to just make sure that everyone has an understanding. There is a cemetery back there that potentially we then could use some of the monies that we had budgeted to maybe gate this or fence this cemetery, where right now it's kind of run down. There's a whole bunch of things we have to look into, but this is just to move forward and to explore whether this can be a reality. So.
To set up the committees and start moving forward on it. And then Jeff, also to address the cemetery, we had talked about that a little bit, and one of the things that you had said is you wanted an iron fence around it.
The mayor last year at the retreat asked me to look into what it would cost to put a 6-foot iron fence around that cemetery. I think the 16.6 is the number that runs in my mind that came back, which that's a lot of money for a fence of the size cemetery it is, but in the big scheme of things, what we plan on doing back there, it really isn't that much money to put there to protect that cemetery. And that's the Mason family, if I'm
The
not
Mason
mistaken.
Family
That,
Cemetery, yes.
there's a rich heritage there in Laverne.
And the last thing,
Boy Scouts have been back there and cleaned that up years ago, but they don't maintain it, and maybe I should get them more involved in it since we're going to be doing something back there. Could be some Eagle projects that they could work on.
Bob, here's the thing though too, there's not a whole lot to take pride in there right now. I mean, it's a pavilion and the cemetery basically, and that's it. If we build something quality there, and of course the community comes out, there will be that vested interest in it, and hopefully, as Kathy said, they will police it and they will pick up trash, and it won't get to that point. But it's a great idea, and it's certainly some we should, at least my opinion, that we should look into. But the last thing, the community will be given an opportunity to have input at some point in time. I think we spoke on.
So with that end, will there be handicap things put in there?
ADA accessible, ADA compliant.
Very good.
If you wanted to look after the meeting, I do have items from the meeting today from Kids Zone, and also information from the custom design playgrounds with this other group, and I'll be glad to show you it. But yes, it is accessible, ADA accessible. We'd also talked about having a big swing for kids who would not be able to use regular swings, but fully compliant.
And do they, I don't know a whole lot about some of the stuff, but I know that we have some children in our community that have autism or Asperger's, and see if there's some way we could bring that in as well, so they have their own kind of little corners.
And I think that would probably be more likely with the one that comes in and does the custom designs. Again, it's something that we really want to look at for everyone. I know with some disorders that kids have, noise can really bother them, so there are little playgrounds that do have little nooks and crannies designed. And yet, we also want to be able to have it open for parents to easily keep an eye on their kids. So it's a balance we'll have to really work on pretty carefully. Compliant that also when we met with one of the people today, sidewalks from the parking lot all the way into the playground and around the playground, so it should be fully accessible that way too.
Very good.
Is there enough lighting back there, or is that something we're going to have to
That'll be part
add?
of our discussion with
Okay.
the Exploratory group.
Any other discussion? Are we ready to recommend it or not recommend it?
I made a motion to the.
Well, I'm just saying, we're ready to vote.
We're ready to vote.
Okay, then all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Very good. All right, guys, that's the kind of a short agenda tonight. We're down to comments. Bruce, we'll start with you if you have any.
I can't think of anything that I know I missed the old timers this year because of my travels, but I heard it went very well.
We'll continue to try and improve it as well. So, Miss Laura?
Well, we're down to the end of the year. It has been a really great year. I'm really proud of a lot of stuff that we've got out there and our response from the community with it. So I'm looking forward to next year, see what we can bring out.
Yeah, we had a good year, I think. We've done quite a bit, and hopefully next year we'll have some more ideas coming aboard. And I really like the sidewalk projects. It's good for the community, and the park, we want to work on that. It's long overdue. And how's things going up there at the park now, or at the Veterans Park? Is everything okay?
We're just doing some preventive maintenance. We're bleeding the irrigation lines, getting the water out of that so they don't freeze up, and do a lot of painting, a lot of just clean, the kind of stuff that you can't do when we're open and having 1,000 people a day come through there. So
No more vandalism, though.
vandalism's really gone down a lot.
Good, that's great.
Quite a bit, and yeah, knocking on wood. We kind of increased our policing of that as well. In years past, you know, something might get tagged and it'd stay there for weeks or months at a time, and now when we see it, we go in and we cover it up, and that's been really a good deterrent, that they're not getting to advertise whatever it is they're selling.
Okay. And now, I forget the name of the street, but the other park over there off Jefferson.
Minking?
Yes, Macon. Is that, I haven't been over there. Are we taking care of that?
Yeah, it's great. I mean,
Do you get much people over there?
no, it being a neighborhood park, it doesn't get very much traffic at all, and
Very few people use it though.
this is true.
Well,
So-
if you might be jumping in, compared to veterans, maybe not, but even the weekend we were over there doing the cleanup, there was quite a few
Really?
families out
Okay.
there swinging.
Yeah, it wouldn't be fair to make a comparison to veterans. It's used by the neighbors, and it helped. I know 5 years ago, you could walk through the opposite or the back end of the park. There was a break in the fence you could walk through, and that was a lot of the trouble that we'd have, is they had an egress route if they were doing something over there. Now they're pretty much, you know, they're stuck. And there's one way in, one way out, and that too is a deterrent for people, you know, to go in there and do things that we would prefer they not do.
And then the Brookside over here, what have we done over there?
Brookside, we went through it's at the 1 year mark right now. We had to go through and get with the contractor and do some stuff. The railing on the bridge had become loose, and they're fixing that up, and we fixed some water runoff issues. But that's just, you know.
It's coming along okay.
Yeah, the grass is taken well. It's really gorgeous over there.
Okay, well, I'd like to wish everybody a happy holiday season and a safe one for everybody.
Bruce had something else.
I've had just a couple of comments come up on Heritage Valley. The first is, I don't understand why, but we had 8 trees along the Fergus Road, and I fought with NES 4 years ago, or 5 years ago, to have them come and put them in when they did those power lines, and they did come and put 8 very nice trees in, and a year and a half later, because we weren't watering them, they died, and I was able to get NES to come in and replace them again. Now, for whatever reason, they're totally gone. Does anyone know what happened to the 8 trees?
I don't know. We talking right there?
Right there on Fergus Road. I mean, it was back behind the sidewalk. It would have been, or it was on the back side of the parking.
It was between the drive and between the first drive and Heritage Valley? Is that what we're talking?
You've got on Fergus Road, the parking lot there for the park.
Correct.
You got the 2 drives.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the parking lot, you come in the park. When you first got onto the grass, about 8 feet in, there were 8 really nice trees that we had put in to kind of block that park from the view. But I mean, they were expensive trees.
I'll see if I can get you an answer on that. I don't. And was this? Do you remember the last time? I mean, was it during the actual construction of the sidewalk project, or was it during the flood, or?
I honestly don't know when they went. I have no idea.
Okay, I'll see if I can get you an
The homeowner
answer.
came and asked me about them. I looked, and sure enough, they were gone.
We'll check into it.
The other thing that has come up with Heritage Valley is the proof of insurance that we require under the lease for that field is only $1 million policy. And our attorney doesn't feel that that's anywhere near sufficient. I can't believe that the city of Laverne only has $1 million liability. I'm sure that there's an umbrella above and beyond that. But the only assignment that we have is a $1 million. And so we need to look at that and address that. We also need to, if we've leased that area to the city. If the city is now going to continue to let the Y do it, then we also want to look at getting a backup insurance policy from the Y for the city and on. So these are issues I don't know.
That already would be a requirement if it was the Y or an individual league. They would have to have, under their user agreement, they'd have to have insurance. So I'm certain that that was already in place. As far as the lease, and I mean, quite honestly,
we get a copy of that for our insurance company.
well, I'm certain that you could, but I think the other thing, as far as having the city go up or down, if it's changing the terms of the lease, we may have to get the city attorney involved. And you know, again, I'm not really at a point where I can really address it right now because I don't know.
No, I
all
didn't
the- all
mean to
the terms.
blindside you. The
No.
trees just came up, the insurance we've talked about at our last two board meetings for the homeowners, and it's our we're really having an issue with our insurance because of what we've done with this lease and the exposure we have there now from both the city and the Y. And so they would like the same, I can't remember the term, we're listed on the policy, listed as an
Additional user.
Additional assured, yeah.
additional insured, and we have that with the $1 million, but we'd like to look in and see what the city has. 'Cause, I mean, I'd be shocked if the city of Laverne only has $1 million policy. I have $1 million liability policy on me personally, so I sure hope the city has more, and we would like to be included in that, the additional backup.
Again, that's something maybe let's talk at the next workshop. And in the interim, if your city attorney, or if your attorney needs to speak to our attorney to get clarification, I'm certain that's something that can be worked out. I can get you Evan Cope's number.
We've got they know each other.
Okay. Then again, it may be something that can be addressed very quickly by them. But I appreciate you bringing it up.
And then the trees too.
Okay. Try to get you some answer on both of those. Jeff, do you have any comments to close out the year?
No, I mean, it's just like Laura touched on, it's the end of the line. It's been a great year. We've tried some things. Some things were more successful than others, but we did music in the park, movies in the park. You know, we've retooled some things. We're tweaking Old Timers Festival to make it better. Added in some programs. We're going to do something on Martin Luther King Day this year. We didn't do last year. The veterans thing continues to grow. Groundhog Day, yeah, we're going to do something for Groundhog Day even. So we're just trying to bring the community together and make it a place that we all are happy to live at and call Laverne home.
I agree. And I'll just, Ms. Kathy, do you want to say anything? Ms. Amanda? Okay, well, again, I want to thank you all for your support and your hard work and all the new ideas and improving some of the old ideas that we've had. It certainly isn't the final result. We will always strive to get better over each year and each event. But again, we'll keep trying. If there's ideas that you have as a resident, please contact any of us, myself or Parks and Rec. And if there's something you'd like to see at maybe Old Timers or in one of our events, or I dare to say this, but a band or something along those lines, please, you can send the CDs to Miss Kathy or to Parks and Rec or to myself or whatever, and you know, try to work with you there on that. I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. I hope everyone comes out and has fun at our Christmas parade coming up on the 8th. Again, it's just another civic event that we can celebrate here together in our own city. So, having said all that, again, thank you all, and we'll adjourn the meeting.